Hi everyone, this week we're going to get started with some sound exploration and we're going to start off with a song called Mr. Wind. The leaves are rustling, rustling, how did this begin? The leaves are rustling, rustling, it must be Mr. Wind. The flags are flapping, flapping, how did this begin? The flags are flapping, flapping, it must be Mr. Wind. The waves are crashing, crashing, how did this begin? The waves are crashing, crashing, it must be Mr. Wind. The windmill's turning, turning, how did this begin? The windmill's turning, turning, it must be Mr. Wind. Okay, so now we're going to have a think about the different sounds that we can make using some body percussion and maybe using our voices to go along with the sounds that are described in that song. So first of all, we've got the leaves that are rustling. So if you wanted to use your voice, you can just whisper, go rustling, rustling, rustling. And it sounds a little bit like the leaves are rustling in the wind and moving in the wind. Another thing that I think makes quite a good sound is when you move your fingers together. That makes a slightly quieter sound, but I think that again sounds a little bit like the leaves moving and kind of rubbing against each other in the wind. Now thinking about those flags that are flapping in the wind, they can make quite a loud noise. So I quite like to kind of clap my hands together slightly, so a bit like this. So that's not a direct clap. That makes a different sound. This is a bit more of kind of a forwards moving clap. Okay, again you could slap your thigh with your hand as well, so similar sound. Okay, again it kind of makes that flag sound. Now moving on to kind of the crashing waves that we heard in the third verse. I love this one personally. I hope you do too. Again, it's a clapping of the hands, but then we're going to follow it by kind of rubbing our hands together. So it kind of goes like this. Okay. Can you find another way of making sounds like the wave? Maybe you could use your voice. Just have a try. Okay, and another challenge for you, I'd like you to have a listen to maybe some video clips of windmills and maybe find some ways that you can come up with some body percussion and some vocal sounds of your own for the windmill. But what we're going to do now, we're just going to play the song through again. I'm going to join in with the body percussion for the leaves, the flags and the waves. And then I'd like you to come up with your own for the windmills turning. Okay, so here we go. So ready with your leaves? The leaves are rustling, rustling, how did this begin? The leaves are rustling, rustling, it must be Mr. Wind. Okay, ready with your flags? The flags are flapping, flapping, how did this begin? The flags are flapping, flapping, it must be Mr. Wind. Okay, ready with your waves? The waves are crashing, crashing, how did this begin? The waves are crashing, crashing, it must be Mr. Wind. Okay, now it's your turn. The windmill's turning, turning, how did this begin? The windmill's turning, turning, it must be Mr. Wind. Fantastic, well done. So for the last part of the sound exploration activity, you're going to need either an instrument or an object from around the house that you think can make the sounds that we've been talking about today. So what I want you to do is to pause the video and go have a look. And when you've found something that you can make different sounds with, come back and press play. Okay, well done for finding something that you can use to make sounds. I've been looking too. I found a drum that I thought could make the rustling sound for the leaves. Now, normally when we think of drums, we think of banging them, making quite a loud sound. But if you just kind of rub the top of it, it makes a slight rustling noise. Like that. Okay, for the flags flapping, I thought I needed a much louder noise that sounded a bit like when we were clapping our hands together or kind of tapping our thigh. So I found what's called a Spanish wooden castanet, and it kind of clacks together, makes a really loud sound. Okay, and then for the waves of the sea that are crashing, I thought a tambourine, because you can make different sounds with a tambourine. You can make a loud crash, and then you can do the waves, the crash waves. So we're going to go through Mr. Wind one more time, and we're going to make our sound effects with our objects or instruments that we found, and then we're going to do one last thing afterwards, but I'll keep that a surprise for now. So here we go. Ready with your leaves? The leaves are rustling, rustling. How did this begin? The leaves are rustling, rustling. It must be Mr. Wind. Okay, ready with your flapping flags? The flags are flapping, flapping. How did this begin? The flags are flapping, flapping. It must be Mr. Wind. Okay, and ready with your waves? The waves are crashing, crashing. How did this begin? The waves are crashing, crashing. It must be Mr. Wind. Okay, we're going to stop there, and we're going to move on to the last part of this activity. Okay, so we have songs where we sing, and then we have chants where we just kind of say the words. So we're going to have a listen to a chant, and then we're going to see if we can make the sounds with our voices, body percussion, or if you want to use the objects and instruments that you found. And we're going to see if we can kind of make the sound effects to go along to the chant. So let's just play the chant first, and then we'll give it a go. Here we go.
Thunder rolling far away, thunder rolling far away, thunder rumbling near, thunder rumbling near, thunder crashing overhead, thunder crashing overhead, thunder disappear, thunder disappear.
Okay, so you could hear the thunder and the storm in the background, and it started off really quiet when it was far away, and as the storm got closer it got louder and louder and louder, and then as it moved away it went quieter and quieter and quieter again. So we have very special words that we use in music for getting louder, and that is called a crescendo, and when it gets quieter at the end, that's called a diminuendo. Okay, so we're going to listen to another version of that chant, and it doesn't have the thunder and lightning sounds. What they've done is they've used words to make the sounds instead. So we're going to have a listen to that now. You can join in if you want to.
Thunder rolling far away, grumpy grumble, grumble. Thunder rumbling near. Rumble, 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 rumble. Thunder crashing overhead. Bash, crash, bash, crash. Thunder disappear. Rumble, 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 grumble, 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 grumble.
Okay, so you can hear the difference, but the words sound a little bit like those stormy sounds that we heard. So now what we're going to do is we're going to join in with that. I'm going to use my instruments, but if you'd rather use some body percussion or just say the words, that's absolutely fine. It's up to you. And we're going to try and make the sounds. So I'm going to be using a drum again for the thunder. With the rustling leaves, we kind of rub the top. With the thunder, I'm going to make a kind of rumbling sound, and it's going to be really quick taps like this. Okay, and remember, it's got to get louder and it's got to get quieter. And then when it's the bash crash part, I'm going to use my tambourine. So I'm going to go bash, crash, bash, crash. Okay. Again, you have an explore with your instruments if you want to press pause and kind of have a little bit of an experiment before we get started. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so here we go. We're going to play the track and make our sound effects along to it. Okay, ready with your thunder.
Thunder rolling far away. Grumble, 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 grumble. Thunder rumbling near. Rumble, 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 rumble. Thunder crashing overhead. Bash, crash, bash, crash. Thunder
Getting quieter.
disappear. Rumble, 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 grumble, 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 grumble.
Well done. Okay, I'm going to leave you an extra challenge for this week. Can you find some more objects and items or instruments around your house that can make different thunder sounds? For this week's singing activity, we're going to be singing a song from the Sing Up website again, and this one is called I'm Still Singing. Sing me on a journey, sing soft when the mornings blow. Sing me on a journey, face the sun when eyes are closed. Sing me on a journey, I sing out in the mountains high. Sing me on a journey, sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry. So the journey goes by and I'm still singing. I laugh and I cry and I'm still singing. I can fall, I can fly and I'm still singing. Say hello, goodbye and I'm still singing. Sing me on a journey, sing soft when the moments blow. Sing me on a journey, I face the sun and my eyes are closed. Sing me on a journey, sing soft like a lullaby. Sing me on a journey, sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry. So the journey goes by and I'm still singing. I laugh and I cry and I'm still singing. I can fall, I can fly and I'm still singing. Say hello, goodbye and I'm still singing. Still singing. I'm still singing. Still singing. I'm still singing. Sing me on a journey. Still sing soft when the moments blow. Sing me on a journey. I'm still face the sun and my eyes are closed. Sing me on a journey. Still sing out to the mountains high. Sing me on a journey. I'm still sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry. So the journey goes by and I'm still singing. I'm still singing. I laugh and I cry and I'm still singing. I'm still singing. I feel like I can fly and I'm still singing. I'm still singing. moving on to our beat activity now. This week we're going to be focusing on the song Professor Brain's Amazing Machine. We're going to listen to the first verse and then we're going to join in singing. What I would like you to do is listen out for the beat, and if you can, I'd really like you to clap along in time with that beat. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to join in singing. Professor Brain built a great machine made out of metal and tin. It can do anything that you ask it to. Just press the buttons in and it goes beep, 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 shh, shh, shh.
Whir, whir, click, click.
Whir, whir, click, click. It's the most amazing machine. Professor Brain built a great machine made out of metal and tin. It can do anything that you ask it to. Just press the buttons in and it goes
Boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom.
boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom.
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep, shh, shh, shh.
Whir, whir, click, click.
Whir, whir, click, click. It's the most amazing machine. Professor Brain built a great machine made out of metal and tin. It can do anything that you ask it to. Just press the buttons in and it goes
Chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga.
chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga.
Boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom.
Boom diddy boom diddy boom boom boom.
Beep, beep.
Beep beep. Shh shh shh.
Whir, whir, click, click.
Whir whir click click. It's the most amazing machine. Okay, moving on to the next part of our beat activity. Listening to that song, we could hear that it had a really steady beat. Okay, a bit like a machine. And I've got a little recording of some machine noises, and what I'd like you to do is clap along in time with the beat of the machine noises. Okay, so it's got that very steady kind of mechanical feel to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put words to that. We're going to use the second part of the song we were singing with the machine sounds in, and we're going to see if it's got that same steady beat again. Okay, so here we go.
Chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga.
Chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga.
Boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom.
Boom diddy boom diddy boom boom boom.
Beep, beep.
Beep beep.
Whir, whir, click, click.
Whir
see it had the same kind of mechanical, almost robot-like feel to it. If you're struggling to feel the beat when you're clapping, you can always go back and play those again and march along to them, and see if you can feel the beat that way instead. Okay, so now we are going to say the mechanical sounds ourselves, and we're going to try and keep them in a steady beat. So I've got some pictures that I'm going to show you. These are on your activity pack, so if you want you can kind of cut them out, and then you can rearrange them into different orders. We're just going to use them like this for now. Okay, I'm going to play some music and see if we can say it in time to the music, in time to the beat. And then what you can do, your challenge for this week, is to rearrange them and see if you can still keep that steady beat. If it helps, march along as you do it, and that'll help keep you kind of nice and steady. Okay, so let's have a listen, and then we're going to say the words ourselves. Okay, so I'll hold these up for you.
Beep, beep, boom, boom.
Chug,
Chug, whir, whir. Beep, beep, boom, boom.
chug,
Chug, whir, whir. Beep, beep, boom, boom. Chug, chug, whir, whir. Beep, beep, boom, boom. Chug, chug.
Okay, well done. Could you feel that really steady beat as you were saying it? Okay, it's quite normal when you're saying the words yourself to feel like they're getting quicker and quicker and quicker. So like I said, if you need to, march along, keep your feet stamping nice and steady and say it along to that, and it'll help you out a little bit. Okay, so for the final part of this activity, you're going to have to go and have a look around your house again for some either an instrument or an object that you can make the different machine sounds with. So once again, just pause the video, go have a look, and then come back and we'll get on with the next part of the activity. Okay, well done for finding some instruments or objects to make some sounds with. I found some too. So I'm getting my trusty drum out again. I struggled to find something for the chugga wugga sound, so I'm going to use my drum for two sounds. I'm going to do like a chugga wugga tapping with my fingers, go chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga. And then for the boom diddy boom part, I'm going to do boom diddy boom boom boom. Okay, so if you have an object that makes more than one sound, fantastic, well done. Then for the beep beep, I don't have a horn that I could use, so I have borrowed the bell from my bike. Okay, so it's going to go beep beep. Okay, and then for the shh shh shh, I've just got a shaker. Okay, this is a wooden one, but you can make them really easily with a yogurt pot, a bit of film or wax-proof paper. Wax grease-proof paper rather, and some dried rice in it, and it makes a really good shaker sound. Okay, and then for the whir whir, I've got a guiro, and it just goes. Okay, and then for the click click, I'm going to make another sound on this. I'm just going to tap on the end. Okay, so we're going to go through the machine sounds part of the song again, and we're going to play along and make our sound effects with our instruments. If there is a sound that you can't make on an instrument, you can either say it, you could make a vocal sound, or you could do some body percussion to make those sounds as well. So don't worry if you've not got an instrument for all of the sounds, just do your best. Chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga your other instrument if you need to.
It's the most amazing machine.
Okay, if you're like me, I wasn't fast enough getting my different instruments to make the different sounds. Don't worry, they go through each sound twice. So if you get one sound on the first run through and then swap to the other sound on the second time through, that's fine. If you need a bit of practice, I'm going to play the track again and you can go through it as many times as you need. Just press pause and rewind and then you can practice as much as you want to.
Chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga.
Chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga, chugga wugga.
Boom diddy boom diddy boom boom boom.
Boom diddy boom diddy boom boom boom.
Beep beep shh shh shh.
Beep beep.
Whir whir click click.
Wah wah. Click click.
It's the most amazing machine.
Okay, so I don't normally mention our extra challenge for the week in our class videos, but this week I am going to, because this week's extra challenge for you is to complete your singometer that you'll find in your pack. And every time you sing a song, I want you to fill in one of the notches. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint that you can use the songs from this week's lessons. So we've actually sung 1, 2, 3 songs already, and you can colour those in to get you started. And every time you sing a song during the week, you can fill up another level. And we're going to see how long it takes us to get all the way up to the top to 30 songs. Now we do lots of singing each week in our lessons, so don't forget to include those. And then you can include anything. So if you're singing pop songs, nursery rhymes, anything that you normally kind of sing along to during the week, you can add it onto your singometer and we'll see how well you do. Have a great week. Bye.